Lamo kicks Emilia aside and prepares to kill Subaru for the right reason. The man standing there is Hollow. Here is Subaru as a forgotten label. She identifies Subaru as a need the first time she met it. She saw a boy who had given up before the fight began. She named it Beatrice, and that name has followed him ever since, echoing every moment of weakness, every hesitation, every time he almost gave up. So the only rational explanation, this is Saint Archbishop wearing his corpse. But Beatrice grabs his hand and says, "Hold my hand and I'll know." Unlike Lamo, who has had company of her loving since Lim was his birth, Beatrice has lived 400 years in the library, alone, speaking to almost no one. She's not good at recognizing people, but she believes it. When Beatrice and Emilia look Subaru in his eyes, they see into it. It cannot be transferred, cannot be replicated, cannot be explained. When Beatrice holds Subaru's hand, she feels it. The specific texture of mana flow between two souls. The cumulative weight of 1,000 small civilizations. How he flinches, how he breathes, how he reaches for her when the world collapses. This is why Lam attacks and Emilia defends. Lam asks, "Can you prove you're Subaru?" Beatrice answers, "I don't need proof. I have testimony." Lam sees what Subaru could be. Emilia sees who Subaru really is. Without Lam, Subaru struck in his comfort zone. Her contempt comes from her expectations. When she calls him Beatrice, she's saying, "You're better than this, loser." She hates him because his talent is wasted. "I know you know I'm right." That voice is unbearable. It's also indispensable. In Better Call Saul, Jimmy said,
"If you were one of the lucky few who reached that peak, even for a moment, if you made him proud, wow, what a feeling. And he let you know it too. But if you weren't one of those people, he was polite enough, but he did not suffer fools. And he could be judgmental and difficult. And he knew how to get under your skin, could be a real son of a bitch. Chuck was the one who was always right, always. And usually he was."
Lam's Chuck, cold, judgmental, ruthless. The kind of person who makes you want to prove them wrong, that you're terrified because you know they're probably right. But here's the thing. Without Emilia, Lam's voice just fruity. It's a blade that cuts but never heals. Emilia gives him purpose. Lam tells you what you must become. Emilia tells you why does it matter. Beatrice and Emilia don't care who Subaru was. They love the man in front of them. They believe the connections, the memories, they're ordinary, not ordinary every day. Every shared breakfast, every stupid joke, every time he was annoying and every time he wasn't. Every moment he was brave and every moment he was terrified. All of it. The entire accumulated weight of being there. That's why they defend him against Lamo. At the end of Blade Runner, Roy Batty is dying. His 4-year lifespan is ending. Rick Decker, the man sent to kill him, hangs from the rooftop by his fingers. Batty could let him fall. Instead, he pulls Decker up to safety. Then he sits in the rain and speaks.
"I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhäuser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time like tears in rain. Time to die."
We never see the attack ships. We never see the sea beams. Ridley Scott doesn't cut flashbacks of Roy's memories. We only know they existed because a dying man tells us, and they will vanish when he does. The power is entirely in the gap between words and absence of image. If Scott had shown the attack ships on fire, the scene would be diminished. The audience would process visual information rather than the will of the loss itself. The scene works because the man would take Roy's word, and in doing so, we feel the terror of mortality, that everything that made you you will be lost when you're gone. In Blade Runner 2049, Officer K dies on the step of Dr. Sterling's laboratory. He spent the entire film believing he was special. He had memories, he had destiny. Then he learned it was a lie. Nothing really matters. Even so, he made a choice. He dies in silence, in the snow. No flashbacks, no montage of his journey. Just a man lying on cold steps, bleeding out. When the morning rolls around, and it's going to be another day of sorrow. The film could show us what Kate is thinking. It could cut to memory of his joy, or his apartment, or the moments that made him feel real. The neither knows answer is a resounding no. And that silence is what makes the scene immortal, because we're the only witnesses. We're the ones who must carry the memory of Kate's choice. The film forces us into the position Roy Batty described. We have seen something no one else will remember. Kate's life matters as long as we remember her. Now, Emilia and Subaru, episode 77. Emilia speaks memories Subaru cannot see. She offers testimony without evidence. She recounts the first meeting, the fights, the promises. She lists moment after moment. And for Subaru, it's basically gobbledygook. The anime could just end in flashbacks from season 1, the throne room, the mansion, to the royal selection. It would have proven Emilia's words. Proof makes believe easier, but belief is not faith, and faith is what his scene needs. Subaru must choose to become Natsuki Subaru without justification. There's no memory of saving anyone, no memory of being loved, no memory of earning his place. It only has Emilia's voice, Emilia's eyes, and the testimony of a girl who refuses to let him go. The scene strips everything away. The flashbacks, the montage, the visual evidence, leaves only words in the void. Just like Roy Batty, just like Kay, Emilia is asking Subaru to believe in a life he cannot remember, to believe he's someone he thinks he's not without any proof. This is the same architecture as tears in rain, words in the dark. Just a voice, just eyes, just snow and clapping stairs. And you get the alchemy of Blade Runner. One of the things I hate most in anime is the overuse of flashbacks. Studios claim it makes a moment sentimental, moving, and heartbreaking. Look at this sad moment. Cry now, you bastard. But let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, it's just cheap. It's a trick used to buy time without drawing new friends. It turns tragedy into a clip show, making the entire medium feel cheap. If there's a montage of season 1 here, it will ruin the episode. Safe, cheap, and entirely wrong. Roy Batty's memories die with it. Kate's sacrifice goes with the way. Subaru is different. He has someone who carries existence forward. Finally, a words is the only thing that makes life real. To keep it minimal is the right decision. The episode forces the audience to experience what Subaru experiences. Words without images, love without proof, identity without memory. You either believe Emilia, or you don't. He does. He chooses to be the man she remembers. 올해가 Natsuki Subaru다. In 2016, a 21-year-old voice actress named Lia Takahashi recorded Stay Alive for the first season of ReZero. She was young, hopeful, and relatively unknown. The song was beautiful. Emilia's plea to Subaru, crystalline memory. 10 years ago, Isekai was a niche, curiosity, something people watched but didn't take seriously. Now, Isekai is its own award at the Crunchyroll. The genre that was considered worthless has become a pillar of the media. Stay Alive, Regain is the same song, the same melody, same words, but the weight is different. When 21-year-old Lia sang Stay Alive, she was a girl who believed her voice could make a difference, just like young Emilia herself. Inexperienced, uncertain, but determined. When 32-year-old Lia sang Stay Alive Again, she proved it. Emilia, Megumi, Ai Hoshino, Takagi, Kaoru Kamiya, we live in a world defined and changed by her voice. Just like Emilia, she has lived a colorful decade at the top of the industry. The aspiration became a reality. The goal becomes a legend. It's more than a remake. The audience who watched season 1 as teenagers is now in their mid to late 20s. We have aged alongside the voice. We have jobs we hate, relationships that fail, dreams we gave up on. We have learned what it means to stay alive by staying alive, and that is an achievement. Congratulations, are still here. Because we're living in a cruel world for young people. When you gaze into Japan, you realize Japan has become everywhere. Being a need was once considered a symptom of Japan's sickness. Hikikomori was a uniquely Japanese shame. Now, 1 million Britons are neat. Across Europe, young people live in their parents' homes well into their 30s because they have no choice. House used to be the path to financial independence. Now inheritance looks like the better bet if it ever arrives. The baby boomers bought houses for sale and granted themselves generous pensions funded by taxes from workers who will never see the same benefit. They inherited the continent rebuilding after war and are passing on the ruined one. In 1916, over 5 workers supported each pensioners in Western Europe. Now, they're just 2.5. An aging society is one that caters to immediate present, not the future. Stuck by the spirit of abdication. Money can always be found to protect pensions. It's far easier to cut education and innovation. This is the world young people inherited. A world where staying alive, just surviving, is harder than it has been for any generation. So when Stay Alive regains a place over media's confession, it hits differently. The song becomes a mirror. You hear both your younger self and your current self, the two versions. You hear the weight of time in Leah's voice, and you feel it within yourself. The fact that it's still here, still watching, still believing, that matters. That's what a song is about. Not heroism, not glory, just a stubborn refusal to give up. Leah Takahashi once described Emilia's voice like falling snow. Crystal, but never fragile. Gentle, but never weak. Sweet, but never saccharine. Now, there's something else underneath. A decade of experience. A decade of understanding what it means to love somebody who keeps dying. A decade of carrying the weight of being the character everyone compares themselves to. When Emilia says, 私の名前は Emilia, ただの Emilia, you hear all of it. The gentleness, the still, the exhaustion, the refusal to give up. 10 years of Leah Takahashi becoming Emilia, and Emilia becoming Leah Takahashi, until the line between them blurred. Refusal is a monument, and Stay Alive Regain is its cornerstone. In Hibana Spark, Tokunaga is a rookie comedian. He meets Kamiya, a seasoned manzai artist, and begs him to become his master. Kamiya agrees. He teaches Tokunaga everything: his secret, his philosophy, his craft. The most important lesson: be yourself, don't copy. Years pass. Tokunaga becomes famous, but Kamiya struggles. Kamiya is funny, but only to other comedians. His jokes don't work with common people. He works construction sites to survive. He dyes his hair to mimic a popular comedian. It doesn't work. In desperation, he even gets breast implant, thinking maybe absurd when making funny. Tokunaga, now retired and living as a real estate agent, finds out. He cries. He scolds Kamiya. What did you do to yourself? Kamiya breaks down. He realizes what he's become. Then he says this.
I believe there's no such thing as retirement for comedians. It's a gigantic competition. There are winners and losers. That's what makes it fun. But Tokunaga, those who get weeded out, they have a purpose too. Everyone who's ever been on stage, they needed to be there. The man's eye of the future. We've been a part of it.
Tokunaga doesn't regret choosing Kamiya, his master. Even though he failed. Even though he never sold. Even though he became a broken man with fake breasts. Tokunaga's lesson is the same lesson Subaru never learns. Kamiya got one life and failed. Subaru got thousands and still feels like a failure. One man believes his life was wasted because he lost. The other believes his suffering was wasted because the timeline disappeared. Both are measuring themselves by outcome. Emilia isn't. Like Tokunaga, she values a person, not the result. In Kuzuno Hongai, Sanai says,
Sure, ability is part of who someone is, but I didn't fall in love because they are excellent or because I gained something from them.
Falling in love is an accident. Staying in love is a choice. Good qualities make falling easier. They don't make staying automatic. Emilia is not loving Subaru because he's a hero. He's loving him while he's a hero, while he's a coward, while he remembers nothing. Love begins with admiration. It survives by valuing a person beyond the usefulness. In Season 3, Capella, Archbishop of Lost, transforms people into monsters, insects, cockroaches. They form disgusting things. She tells them, "This is who we really are. Love is alive. No one will love you if you look like this." She's right about humans. We do judge by appearance. We do value capability. Subaru would not have fallen in love with Emilia if she looked like a cockroach. But she's wrong about love. In The Elephant Man, John Merrick is deformed beyond recognition. People treat him like an animal, yet he insists, "I'm not an animal. I'm a human being. The body is not the verdict. The body is just a room the soul lives in." Capella thought she proved love a fallacy. Instead, she proves the opposite. We don't abandon people we love when they become ugly or sick because we stop loving them. We struggle because we love them too much and our hearts can't afford the pain. We don't suffer because love failed. We suffer because love succeeded. Human beings fail at love every day. Love itself remains untouched, undefeated. However, millions of people stop believing. We live in an age of unprecedented loneliness. Young men fall into manosphere, convinced that the women are transactions and love is a lie. Young women retreat into radical femininity, convinced that men are predators and the safety lies in isolation. Both sides have been hurt. Both sides have evidence. Both sides are right about the worst examples of the other. Men desperately lonely choose to buy sex. Every time they sleep with a stranger, their soul is a little less. Sex without fear, like the existence of Japan, a society built on fear avoidance, makes real intimacy unbearable. Because real intimacy is risky. Will you love me tomorrow? Women, equally desperate, choose to rent love. They become obsessed with host clubs, pouring money into relationships with men paid to be charming, attentive, and the most important thing, submissive. As Madman put it,
Women are this vegetable soup, and men can't put them on a plate or eat them off the counter. So men are the pot. They heat them up, they hold them, they contain them. But who wants to be a pot?
in equal relationships, feelings go both ways. Hostess clubs remove their burden. The party never ends until the money runs out. Then the men vanish, serving the next client like they never existed, and the cycle reinforces itself. Men are predators, women are users, love is transaction. The more people participate, the more the narrative hardens, self-reinforcing despair, and so they build walls. The data supports them. Divorce rates, infidelity statistics, the cold mathematics of dating apps where 80% of women compete for 20% of men, and the remaining 80% of men learn. Through brutal repetition, that their existence is inconvenience. Just like Capella said, men are right about women are right about men. They have stories, they have scars. What about you? In BoJack Horseman, Diane gives a speech at a wedding.
Well, all weddings are lies, right? Sort of. You're making this big declaration about how you're gonna stay with this person forever, but you don't actually know that. You're just saying it. The whole thing is a farce, but it's a lie based on truth. Like, at the center of the farce, there's this nugget of something real and pure. And that strange, beautiful something is why you put up with everything else, right? And sometimes it's hard to remember that pure, shining thing, because it's been painted over with so many arguments and compromises and disappointments. But you have to believe it's still down there somewhere, even if you can't see it. And maybe even the belief in it is more important than the thing itself, but only as long as you still believe it.
This is what we need. Love is a farce. Wedding vows are impossible promises. Nobody can know who they'll be in 20 years. Nobody can guarantee forever. Still, people promise anyway, because believing in the lies will make it real. Finally, it's Subaru's choice. Not memory, not capability, not certainty, not even love, really. He chose belief. He chose to believe that Emilia's words matter more than his doubts. He chose to believe that the brave, still big, self-destructive kind of boy named Natsuki Subaru existed, and he could become it. Subaru had no proof, no memories, no way of knowing whether Emilia was right. All he had was a testimony. A girl looking in the eyes and told him who he was, and he chose to trust her. That's why the scene works. Not because Subaru remembers, not because Emilia convinced him, not because the anime proves anything. It works because Subaru does what all of us eventually have to do. He believes, and in that moment, he becomes Natsuki Subaru. The belief in love is more important than love itself. As long as you still believe in it. ReZero. Starting life in another world from zero. In Season 1, Episode 18, Subaru declares from zero after Lim accepts him. He restarts from emotional collapse toward action. The phrase becomes the show's North Star. No matter how far you fall, you can begin again. In Season 4, Episode 77, the phrase returns. Season 1 asks, "Can I keep going?" Season 4 asks, "Do I deserve to exist?" The first from zero was about restarting after failure. This one is about restarting selfhood itself. On those clapping stairs, Emilia offers him the same promise Lim did. "I will carry you forward. I will remember when you cannot." Returned by death is Subaru's curse and his salvation. He's the only one who remembers the loops, the only one who carries the weight of every death. Their loneliness is the core of his character. He saves everyone, but no one knows how many times he died to do it. But in the Watchtower, the architecture inverts. Previously, Subaru was the only one who remembers. Now, the world remembers while he forgets. Emilia becomes the bridge between who he was and who he must become. There's nothing she can do with his curse, but she proves that a memory can be carried by more than one person. Subaru's final declaration, "I will remember everything." It's a vow. He doesn't know if his memory will return. He doesn't know if he'll ever feel like Natsuki Subaru again, but he makes a promise anyway. Emilia remembers who he was. Subaru remembers who she is to him. Neither carry the whole story, but together, they carry enough to stay alive. You are not just what you remember. You are also what others remember about you. 10 years ago, some of you watched ReZero for the first time. You were inspired. You found courage. You decided to make a difference, to change your life. Some of you made it. You became the person you wanted to be. Others didn't. You tried, you failed, you gave up, and somewhere along the way, you forgot where you started. This episode is a reminder that you once fell in love with a fictional character, which is itself a reminder to love the characters in your life who are real. To do otherwise is to live with regret. Subaru's final words are not just for Emilia, they are for you. I will remember everything. Maybe your memory isn't gone, maybe your dream isn't gone, maybe the person you want to become isn't gone either. Maybe you've simply stopped looking for them. Something changed inside you the first time you watched ReZero. Maybe it was small, maybe it faded, but it was real. And that version of you The one who believes it can start over, they're waiting. Subaru can start from zero. So can you. From zero.